Everybody, I'm Lynette Schaefer, and in today's video, I'm going to be demoing our lighting layout tool offered through our suite of services. So this tool really does save time and money with our simple and easy to use lighting layout tool. It allows you to adjust to the desired or required foot candles, reflectant tolerances, special sizing, and additional specifications needed for that specific application. These layouts are especially useful because it can showcase the design and placement of the fixtures, saving time and money, and also it ensures the specification meets the needs of the customer. Now, this tool is available for both interior and exterior applications. And also, this technical tool allows for the development of accurate photometric solutions, showing placement and direction of the light source within the specifications of that actual space. It's a really super fast and effective tool for simple room calculations using IES data. You can easily search by product type and other characteristics of the product to ensure that you are picking a product that meets the requirements of that specific application and that specific space. So next, I'm going to go ahead and shut off my video, and I'm going to share with you how the tool works. Okay, I am back. So here I am at EiKO.com. And when you get to this page, you're going to have the option for indoor layouts or outdoor layouts. So let's go ahead and take a quick peek at indoor layouts first. Now, this may not be super quick for all machines. There's a lot going on in the background, so there might be a little bit of a delay. But anyways, just be patient with it. So once you're here, there's a couple of things to kind of sort of direct your attention to. There's a little buttons up here in the upper left-hand corner. These are all very useful, but really I feel like the first step in any of these type of layouts is to pick the product. So this one here happens to be just already set up. It was probably a project I was working on before for our slim 2x4 fixtures. You know, maybe that's not the product that you want. You can, if you want to, start to type in the part number and it will come up with some options. So let's just go ahead and pick, I don't know, this first one. So we're going to change this to a high bay fixture. You can see the image change, which is really, really nice. And then from there, you just sort of work your way around to each one of these different icons. So this one here gives you a little bit of information about the fixture, tells you what the watts are, light loss factor, things of that nature. Those are already in there from the IES files that we provide. Typically, you wouldn't mess with these. And then the next one over from here is your just some more information. Again, you're not going to really mess with this at all. If you had maybe a fixture that was like a tube ready or a lamp ready product, you may want to adjust the lamp count. But for fixtures that are already embedded with an LED, you don't have to worry about messing around at all with that either. So really, these first two are just information that is provided from our IES files. Now, this one over here, this just kind of gives you a little bit of details about the shape of the fixture. If it was a round high bay, then of course it would show a round fixture. If you wanted to make that change, you could do that, but I just don't think that it's necessary. Most of the time, this is going to be accurate based on the information that we provided. This is also going to give you the length of the fixture as well as the width of the fixture. All right. Now, the other thing that you can do here as well is you can change the direction of those fixtures. So let's say that instead of running, the way that it shows here on my screen, maybe you want to run them a different direction. You just push on this little button. All right. You can't really mess anything up with this, by the way. So play around with it. So the next one up is this little gear, and this gear is going to give you just sort of the whether or not you want everything in feet or meters, foot candles or lux. Obviously, here in the United States, we went with foot candle and feet and then watts per foot. If you need something different, you can choose to change that if you need to. All right. Again, nothing that you're probably going to mess with a whole lot. Then you come over here to the calculator. This is where you start to basically design the space. So in this case, I had it already set up for 40-foot candles, but this is a manufacturing facility and they wanted a lot of light. So we're going to go ahead and change this to, let's say, 70-foot candles instead. So you're going to notice as soon as I do that, it automatically changes the layout and it tells you that you need more fixtures. Now, we have not yet put in our dimensions of this. We haven't gotten to that. We will here in just a second. So you might choose to, what you probably want to do first actually is come up over to this box first, and the box will give you the length, the width, the height, and so forth. So let's just say that this particular facility is 100 feet by 100 feet, and the mounting height is, I don't know, 18 feet. Work plane, that typically is going to be your your workbench, right? So if for some reason they were doing work on the ground, you might want to change that to 0. Most of the time it's going to be about 2.5, which is basically your work plane or your height of your desk of where you would normally work. Now, if these fixtures were suspended from the ceiling, in this case, it has in here automatically that they are hanging down about 1.5 feet from the ceiling. But some cases you might have a really tall ceiling and maybe they're suspended 5 feet, or maybe they're not suspended at all. You can make those changes and it'll take that into consideration. So that's where you would put that information in. So this is the information on the room size. There's also another tab here called reflectance. These reflectances, this is basically the normal IES reflectances, 80, 50, 20. So 80 for the ceiling. Usually you would use that if your walls are painted in a lighter color, like a white. Or I'm sorry, the ceiling, if they're typically painted white. Your walls, if they are maybe like an off-white, typically that might, or maybe they're even dirty, you might want to use 50%. And then the floor, you don't usually get a lot of reflectances from your floors. But if you had like a really dark ceiling, you would want to change your reflectance from 80 to maybe 40. Or if you had really dark walls, you might want to change that 50 to maybe 20, because you're not going to get nearly as much light reflectance with the darker colors. So again, typically you won't have to change these, but just kind of keep that in mind that it's there if you need to. So now you've gone through and you've adjusted your room size and your reflectances if you needed to. And you can see that it automatically changed. Now you can come back over here to the calculator again. Maybe 70-foot candles is too high. Maybe you only want, I don't know, 50-foot candles, right? So you can see here that your 90 luminaires went down to 64. Also underneath the calculator, you also have a layout button. And this layout will basically tell you how many rows that you have and the spacing. If you're doing a 1-for-1, say a retrofit of some sort, you may have to adjust this. So when you go out and take a look at that project, you're going to want to know how far apart are those existing fixtures. That way you can come in here and tweak this so that your fixtures are on the same spacing. So let's say your real spacing in the application is 10 foot. Then of course you're going to want to change that based on the findings that you have. So you can kind of see how that adjusts ever so slightly. Now this offset, you can see here, there's a big gap on the sides here. The offset is how far away are your fixtures from the outside wall. So this is pretty far. It might be in your case, it may not be though. If your fixtures are only 10 feet away from the wall, then you're going to want to go ahead and change both of those, all the side walls, right? So you can modify that if you need to as well. All right, so that's basically how you would use those few buttons. What's nice about this is that there's not a lot you have to worry about. I mean, this is a pretty easy, straightforward lighting design program. It also at the end will give you your watts per square foot. That is sometimes really helpful when it comes to tax incentives or any of the other rebates that may be available. The other thing too that I'll show you is you can hold your mouse down and kind of move it around if you want to get a better look and feel of what the space looks like. You can also change the look of it by doing something like this, right? So you've got some options there. But anyways, that kind of just gives you an idea. Now, the other thing too is that you can share this. You can print it or you can share it. So if you decide to share it, you can do a link, you can do an email. If you decide to print it, when you go to print it, it will give you an option to put in the title. Maybe this is, ADC project, whatever it might be. You can type that in. You can modify the information over here if you want. It will give you all of your luminaire information, your room sizes, your mounting heights. If you want to make these bigger, by the way, you can do that before you print it. So there's a lot of customization as well, and you can put in your footer too, and then you can go ahead and just print it. You can also print it to, let's say, an Adobe PDF of some sort too. So that's an option. All right. So that's really as easy as it gets. I highly recommend just playing with the system. You're not going to, like I say, break anything or mess anything up. So pretty self-explanatory from that perspective. All right. So let me go ahead and come back out here to the main page. And now I'm going to go ahead and switch gears and go over to outdoor layouts. Outdoor layouts are a little bit more complicated. As much as I love to tell you that this is a great tool for outdoor lake layouts, it is for just basic layouts. If you're looking at doing something a little bit more dramatic or something that's a little bit more detailed, you may just want to have somebody at EiKO handle that for you, or any of our agent distributor partners as well could potentially help you with that too. But a little bit of the same sort of look and feel as the indoor layout. First thing, again, your luminaire, you can pick whichever one you want, similar to the interior application. So in this case, I don't know, I think I'm just going to try to look for, I don't know if I can search or not. Let's see. Yes, I was going to try to search for a vert, VERT or VRT. There we go. So this is an area light. And again, once I change it, you can make sure that you have the appropriate product that you're looking for. And same sort of thing. You've got your information about the fixture. You also have just some more details about that. Again, that's all provided by the IES. So most of the time you're not going to mess with this at all. Then when you come up here to the calculator, that's when you start getting into the fun part, right? So you can choose to have a couple of different options. This is where it gets to be kind of like just play with it and see what happens. But for the easiest piece of it, like this one here is a single arm and they're mounted in the corners here. I am going to just show you what it looks like if you were to just do a single head. So you basically have a pole with a single fixture. It's the easiest way from a demonstration perspective. So this is your pole, this is your fixture, and then these lines around the outside show you what your foot candle level is going to be based on how far out your light is pushing. So from here to here, you basically have about 2-ish foot candles right underneath the pole. Then it goes out to 1, and then it goes out to about 0.5. Behind the fixture, all the way about 39 feet, that is going to be pushing, that light's going to be pushing in a similar direction. So 39 feet behind the pole, 51 feet out in front of the pole. And then from side to side, it's going to go about 65 feet out from one side, 61-ish feet out from the other side. Just some basic details. Now, if you choose to, you can also have, we all know that poles, especially outdoor poles, can have multiple heads. So that was just a single arm. If you click on this little down arrow here in this section, you can maybe choose to do like a triple at 90 degrees. So of course your image is going to change. So now you've got a pole in the middle with 3 fixtures. All right, similar concept, you know what your foot candle level is going to be and how far that light's going to push out. So this is where you get to kind of play with it a little bit and choose your options. So lots of different configurations, lots of different options. Now, this is just showing one fixture. If you wanted to see what the entire space looked like, say with 4 fixtures and what the spacing would be, then of course you would pick one of these other icons here below. The arm length, that basically is just saying how far out is that arm going to be out from the pole until it gets to the actual light that's being produced out of the fixture. Most of the time, I don't think you would probably mess with that a whole lot. This fixture spacing, the X and Y spacing, that is if you want to, again, do like a remodel of some sort and you already know how far apart your spacing is. So just to kind of give you an idea, let's just say that these fixtures are, I don't know, 10 feet apart. All right. So once you do that, 10 feet might have been a little too small. Yes, 10 feet was. So you probably are going to want to go with more like a 15 foot, possibly. There we go. So 10, sometimes it'll give you an error if you push those things too far together. So in this case, this 15 feet kind of did the trick. And then you're also going to find your luminaire height as well. So these are mounted at 40 feet. If you needed them to be mounted at a different height, you could certainly type that in here. And that will give you a different layout based on a 30-foot mounting height. Instead, if you choose to, you can put in your minimum illuminance. Most of the time for outdoor, 0.5 is pretty good, but maybe you're doing a really, I don't know, maybe you're doing a lot of some sort, like a car dealership, and they need a lot of light. So maybe you need that to be 20-foot candles, the minimum. So in that case, you're going to see that you're going to need more fixtures for 1, and 2, you're going to also see that your light calculations are going to go up too. All right. So that's sort of like the gist of what this layout sort of looks like. There are certainly other things to kind of keep in mind here. So this was the layout tab. If you go underneath results, this kind of just gives you some options. So let's just say, oh, you want 18 feet or you want 20 feet. You can make these quick modifications by just going to the results page, and it'll give you some options there. And then as far as the display goes, you can kind of choose, how you want your background to look based on, whatever you're trying to accomplish, I guess. And then you can also type in your values here if you choose to as well. All right, so this is not, what should I say? I love this tool, but it definitely is one that you have to be a little bit careful with. And you've got to make sure that you're taking everything into consideration. I typically use this, as I mentioned, for like a single pole top, perhaps. And that way I'm basically just utilizing it to see how or what the foot candle level is going to look like based on my design. So this is really why I use this. And at least now you know that, if you have one pole mounted at 10 feet, it is going to give you this many foot candles based on, a 10-foot mounting height. So anyways, that's basically how I use this. And same thing as the interior, you can print it. You can also share it. You can modify it once you hit the print button, which is really cool. And that's pretty much the interior and exterior lighting layout tool. So with that being said, I hope that you enjoyed this. And certainly don't forget, we have lots of other suite of services outside our lighting layouts tool. Go to EiKO.com, click on resources, click on training, all kinds of trainings there for our suite of services, as well as various other trainings that you might want to also check out. Again, thanks for joining me today. And I hope you tune in for another one very soon. Thanks.